bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirit.
Well, a big highball and hello to all the model railroaders and rail fans out there, and welcome to December 2022's edition of the Central Division. Hey, I hope your holiday season is going very well for you. The day is going well. This has been a great holiday season for me. The day is going very well for me. I'm actually taking some time off. I'm off till the end of the year. So this has allowed me to spend more time in the layouts. I'm really excited to show you some of the progress I've made since we talked back. I think it's been, all the way back in September as the last update I did for you. And got up a little extra early this morning, as I normally do, and putting the show together. Needed a little bit of an extra boost, so I went down to Starbucks, got my cappuccino, so got the blood flowing and everything. So, just more energy to put this program together in model railroading. I mean, caffeine's a good thing. Caffeine's a good thing, in my opinion, anyway. Hey, I wanted to give, as I always do, it's a big thank you to all the channel subscribers out there. As I always say, you're the ones that keep me motivated and keep me moving forward. And it's appreciated. And hey, if you like what you see and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I certainly invite you to do so. I also, before we get started, I wanted to give a couple of shout outs. And the first is a gentleman, his name is Ray Arnott, and he has this wonderful podcast called Around the Layout. So if you listen to podcasts, go out there, check it out. Around the Layout. And if you've never listened or you don't do podcasts, go download an app where you can listen to podcasts. Go check out Around the Layout. I tell you, I was lucky enough to be a guest back in July. It was a wonderful experience. Ray is a great host, and I was able to tell how I came up in model railroading, talk about my layout, model railroading in general. And I tell you, Ray has had some phenomenal guests on there, model railroaders from around the world. Everyone from people with like basement empires all the way to people just have a small shelf layout. So it's absolutely worth checking out. Again, it's called Around the Layout. Ray also has a really good website. I'm going to post a link to that so you can go check that out. The other shout out I wanted to give is to a gentleman named Paul Kassar. And Paul is actually one of the early guests on Around the Layout. And he gets, where I know him from, is a Facebook group that he has called HO Scale Shelf Modelers. This Facebook group has just exploded with memberships. I don't know how many thousands of members he has right now. It is a great Facebook group. You have people of all kind of different skill levels that share, their model railroading, post images up there, talk about model railroading and things like that. It's a really fantastic group, and it's also a very welcoming group. You don't have to be like an expert in model railroading to share and enjoy being a member of this group. So again, it's worth checking out. Paul's he's really nice, great guy. So again, it's HO Scale Shelf Modelers. It's a Facebook group, so definitely worth checking out there. Well, anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to show you what I've done in the layout. So in the past few weeks, I've been concentrating on the second section of the layout. So I've been doing things like painting rails and ties, put in ground foam and static grass in areas, additional gravel. I've put in a road. So kind of just laying the base to complete this section of the layout. So in the foreground here, I'm going to finish filling this in with trees once I've completed the hill there you see in the background. And this is going to act as a view block. And view blocks are nice to have on model railroads because what they do is it kind of just breaks up the run. So it gives the impression that the train is going somewhere and coming from somewhere. and overall kind of gives a feel of a bigger layout than you might actually have. And at this angle, you can see some of the track I've completed in the background there. And you also see the ground foam there between the static grass is where those additional trees are going to go. So it's going to be a nice scene once it's done. So here's a closer view of that track that you saw in the background. And as you see here, one of the things I like to do in a lot of the track areas of my layout is add drainage ditches. And so that's easily accomplished. Basically, you just take a rotary tool set at a very low speed and very carefully carve along the roadbed. So as we cross the street here, you see another area of that section along the wall where I've put in static grass and I've finished the track, put down ground foam and everything. And it might not be too visible in the shot, but here in the foreground, I've carved down sort of a valley, and I've got a small hill in the background. And I like to do that in the layout. You know, the world isn't flat. I like to get those contours in there because I think it adds to the realism. So I've made a few changes since talking with you last. And one of these is moving the Ward Cold Storage Company. Where you see my pointer there is where that used to sit. I've just got just a temporary background building there until I figure out kind of what background building I want to put. But one thing I found after a few operating sessions is having an industry that you switch during an operating session that close to the yard, it created problems. One, for yard operations, and two, switching that industry. So I moved the Ward Cold Storage Company, and I tell you, man, operations improved immediately. So when I was trying to decide where I was going to put the Ward Cold Storage Company, once I moved it from the yard area, I just kind of set it off next to a corner and then put my blue warehouse background building in the same corner just to kind of get them out of the way. It's kind of just doing some thinking, working on another section of the layout. And once I had them there, I kind of got to looking at it and thought, actually, this looks really good. So it was kind of just one of those scenes that came about purely by accident. And I tell you, in model railroading, those aha moments can be, those are really good things when they happen. So here's a closer view of the corner industry. It was created more or less kind of by accident. Here's the Ward Cold Storage Company background building, and this is a building that was originally sitting in the yard. And next to it is more of a modern warehouse background building, and this represents a more recent addition where the company has expanded out. And to complete that scene in the corner, this is an ITLA background building kit, and this is going to be the Southern Publishing Company, which was also an industry in Fort Smith. So another change I decided to make was to change the background that I have next to my tank car unloading rack. So here's the original background that I had, and once the complex is complete, it's going to represent kind of a smaller chemical company, so I thought this was just a little bit overkill. So the background building I have in order is from PTF Designs, and you can find this company on eBay. They have some really nice building backgrounds there, and this is going to fit a lot better with the scene, because what I'm going for is a smaller chemical storage distribution center versus a large refinery. And so I think once I have this in place, I'm also going to add a small storage building. I think overall the scene is going to look really nice. So I think the last time I did an update in September, I was talking about, trying to decide what type of freight transfer building to put in this area here to serve the Arkansas Coffin Company. And I looked at different options, and what I decided to go with is a wooden kit from Rail Scale Models. And while it's not a replica of the transfer building that was actually in Fort Smith at that time, it served the Arkansas Coffin Company, I think this is really going to complement the overall scene. I've never built a kit from Rail Scale Models, but I'm looking forward to breaking open the box and getting started on it. So another more recent change I decided to make is to replace the water tower I purchased for the Arkansas Coffin Company. The actual company, they had a steel water tower that provided water for the sprinkler system. Anyway, once I got this in and took it out of the box, and it just quickly became apparent, how clunky looking it is. And this is just a $15 tank somebody made with a 3D printer. But you see, for example, like the handrails, how oversized they are. So what I decided to do is go with a kit from Tichy Train Group. This company makes some really nice detailed kits. And so I think this water tower, especially the detail, it's to scale. I think it's really going to complement the scene well once it's in.